Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I'm your host, Henry Harris. Today we're going to talk about a great message I've been wanting to discuss for quite some time. It is a message that we rarely ever hear about, but I believe it rings true not only in my heart, but I believe it will also resonate with you as well. And today I just want to come to you just to discuss why people in an abusive marriage can't, in quotations, just leave. Because oftentimes, if you think about it, when you see someone in an abusive situation or an abusive marriage, our first instinct is to do what? Oh, just leave, just bail out. But today we want to look at it in a new perspective and in a new light, that it doesn't always work that way. And we're going to just talk about that, why some just can't leave. It's very difficult to watch anyone experience abuse, especially in a relationship or marriage. Sometimes we feel powerless as to what to say or what to do, so we show our compassion, so to speak, by encouraging him or her who is experiencing the abuse to do what? Leave. Again, like I said earlier, I think that's just our natural instincts. The good part of us that wants to tell that person that if they're in an abusive relationship, they should just leave. I'm not saying that you're giving them misinformation, but at the same time, too, it's not always that easy for that person to just leave. There is a problem with telling someone that. And in today's episode, I want to cover why some just can't leave an abusive marriage or relationship. I personally believe, now this is just my personal opinion, I personally believe that it's natural. You see someone suffering from abuse, any form of abuse, to just tell them to just leave. But this is not always easy to do. Or as the phrase goes, it's easier said than done. That's for the individual that's suffering from the abuse. Let me make something very crystal clear. Abuse is not okay under any circumstances, and some are in abusive relationships and marriages and not even aware that they are even being abused. Did you know that that's possible? That you can be in an abusive relationship and marriage and you're not even aware that you are in an abusive state or in an abusive relationship. You're not even aware of it because you don't know what abuse is. Many who go through it, unless it's obvious, sometimes you'll never know. They won't tell you. And many, by the thousands, they choose to stay in a hostile environment. It becomes the norm for them. It becomes comfortable for them, especially those. This can even go back to childhood. If you've seen abuse or witnessed abuse as a child, sometimes the damage even can start there because they look at that as a child and they grow up thinking like this is normal for a man to put his hands on me because that's what he did to mom. You get where I'm going? But it's not normal. It's not okay. But some people who are in an abusive marriage, they are afraid to leave. And sometimes they don't leave because I hate to say it, they become comfortable with the abuse. They become comfortable with being tortured. And they become comfortable in not being treated right. Some of them don't know how to be treated right. And when somebody finally comes along that wants to treat you right and that won't abuse you or hurt you, we tend to shun them away because they are too good for us, or he's not aggressive enough. We can't embrace goodness because we've been treated like crap for so long. Most I have spoken with feel powerless about their situation, very powerless. They feel there's just very little they can do. I want you to know that while I do wish that you would leave that abusive marriage or relationship, I do understand, and I want to make this very clear, I do understand it's not easy to just leave. I will never encourage you to stay. But maybe something I shared today in today's program will be an eye-opener for you. We need to start with the basics. Before going deeper into this message, what is it that you need to know? What do you need to know? Number one, do you feel you are in an abusive relationship? Do you feel you are in an abusive relationship or in an abusive marriage? Number two, are you aware of the different types of abuse? I said this earlier. Some people don't even know what abuse is. Some people won't even know if it bit them in the butt. So you cannot answer question number one if you are not familiar with the different types of abuse. We're talking about mental abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. Are you aware of that? Number three, would you leave if you could? If you had the opportunity to leave, would you leave if you could? So we tell people to just leave, but some are afraid to just leave for various reasons we will discuss. Again, it's easy to say, pack up your bags, throw the deuces up, and move on with your life. That sounds so easy to do, but not to the one who is enduring the abuse. I cannot stress that enough. You can say that to a person because maybe you're not in an abusive situation right now. Maybe you've been there, so you totally understand where I'm coming from. It's hard. They can't just leave. Here's a quote that I really like. Abuse should never be normalized. Some don't leave because they have been taught that it is normal to stay in a toxic and unhealthy situation. And rest assured, if you think abusive behavior is normal, it will be hard for you to identify a healthy relationship or what that even looks like. If you are in an abusive relationship and you think it's normal that he's doing these things to you or she's doing these things to you, these abusive behaviors, you will never know what it's like to be treated right. You will never know what it's like to not be abused because that's what you have become familiarized with. Is it normal to you? Are you okay with it? Who would be? What are some reasons why people can't just leave? Well, there are quite a few. Number one, dangerous. Some people don't leave because it's dangerous to leave. Sometimes it's dangerous to leave. And not only is it dangerous to leave, for some people who are in an abusive marriage or relationship, not only is it dangerous, it can become life-threatening. Maybe she left and he starts to make threats. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to hurt your family. I'm talking about some real stuff that I've witnessed and seen myself with my own eyes. Women I've talked to, men I've talked to that have experienced this. It can become life-threatening. And some of these people are psychopaths. They're crazy. They will literally carry out what they say. If they tell you, if I can't have you, no one can, you better take that serious. Because that has become very damaging and detrimental to so many people. Even people have lost their lives over trying to leave. Number two, children. Some people just can't leave because many don't leave because they have children with the abuser and don't want the children to experience divorce or breakup. So sometimes when you have children, it makes it even just as much harder to just leave or walk away, especially when y'all all live in the same house. Number 3, sweet talking. That's what I call it, sweet talking. This is associated with cycles. Can you repeat that after me? Say, this is associated with cycle. Once the abusive situation happens, the abuser has a way of sweet talking or doing something nice to basically, you know what, like when you get a fish, you grab that fish and you reel him back in. That's what he's doing to you, or what she's doing to you. But also with endless promises. Honey, I will never do it again. I was upset. All these promises that they will never abuse you again, that they will never do it again, but pay attention to the cycle. The cycle. How many times does he have to tell you that he will never hit you again, or he'll never abuse you again, or he'll never hurt you again, and 2 days later he comes up with another excuse, or she does. Abuse can work either way. And then, okay, honey, I know you were probably just upset. Okay. No, it's going to keep happening until you recognize the cycle of abuse. Number 4, the work it out mindset. I could never understand this. Some stay in an abusive relationship because they feel the pressure of not giving it up. I've invested too much into this marriage. I love this man. I love this woman. And there's this pressure of not giving up. There's this thing of just forgive him and forget it. Ride it out mentality. Really? You're being abused and you're encouraged. You are being abused and you are encouraged to work it out. Believe it or not, even religious leaders and institutions encourage people to work out their problems. If you are that person that tells someone that you add to their abuse and not take away from it. Work it out? No, there's no work it out. Even if you can't leave right away, don't accept the work it out mindset. I know a young lady who happens to be close friends of mine, and I'm not going to reveal her name, but she was telling me how she was in a very hostile environment, an abusive marriage. Her husband pulled her hair, did so much abusive things to her. She went to her mom and said, Mom, you know, he's abusing me and whatnot. And you know what her response is? Y'all need to work it out. And not only that, she went to her pastor, and her pastor confirmed what the mom said. Oh, they just need to work it out. They need to work out their problems. Really? You knowing that this girl's in an abusive relationship or marriage, and you have the nerve to say, work it out? I don't think so. Number 5, it's my fault. This is called gaslighting or manipulation, when the abuser makes him or her feel like it's their fault why he or she was abusive to them to begin with. Well, I wouldn't have did this to you if you hadn't done. I think you get the point. Number 6, I would change. That is very common. We hear that a lot. Never stay in a relationship in which you count on someone to change their behavior for the better. I am not saying they don't change, but if they do, it is extremely rare. As I bring this message to a close, some may be asking, well, how can I leave an abusive marriage? I am in an abusive marriage, Henry. I can't just leave. How can I? Well, number 1, this is what you need to do. Develop a plan. Don't, and listen to me. Connect with people that you trust, that you know. And sometimes, if they have to be a therapist, connect with someone that you trust, that you can talk to. Develop a strategy. Develop a plan. Number 2, be careful who you talk to. I just said that. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you reveal that to. Because the person you reveal that to, they can relate what you've been sharing with them back to the abuser, which in turn can make things more difficult for you. I've seen situations where the family supported the abuser or was on his or her side. It happens, people. Number 3, seek help or call the domestic violence hotline. And here's the thing that I really want to say or stress. I trust you. I really do. I trust you. I trust that you will leave in a safe way. So many today have left, and if you did, I am very glad and I applaud you for that. Know when to leave. Follow your instincts, follow your gut, follow your heart, but leave safely. Always keep in mind, it's easy to tell someone to just leave, but consider you don't know the full situation. Don't give advice or counsel that could potentially get you hurt.
We hope you have enjoyed today's program. We want to connect with you. Visit us at facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You Show, or visit us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Henry Harris 100. We're so grateful you tuned in today and hope you have a fantastic day.